We all set, everybody? If so, I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. Today is Thursday. Take that back. We're Tuesday, November 12th, 2013. I'm jumping ahead. It is 7 o'clock p.m. First item is Pledge of Allegiance.
Excuse me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, it looks like we have a typo on our board meeting minutes of the Thursday, so we'll make that Tuesday. Okay, our first item is our roll call. Ms. Sherby.
Present.
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 Present. Present.
Present. We do have a quorum this evening. We're going to have our board meeting and then followed by our committee of the whole meeting this evening. Our next item under 4 presentations. Chief.
As you know, we transitioned over to NORCOM 911 dispatch on Halloween, and we have 24-hour coverage at the police facility through the new administrative clerks that were hired. We have 2 full-time record clerks that work during the day and afternoon. We're supplemented by the midnight shift during the week and on the weekends 24/7 administrative clerks. So Lieutenant Commercial in charge of support services, the administrative division. He's going to introduce the new clerks that are now employed by the police department. Some of them have former police experience or currently working in other agencies. Some of them have already graduated with a degree in criminal justice or police science administration. Some of them currently going to school as well. They have an interest in the law enforcement agency. I think we've got a good selection of candidates, and one of them wasn't able to make it. He's in school as well. With that, we kind of work on it.
Hi, and also I'd just like to add that some of our employees here speak different languages. Lisa speaks at least 3 different languages, and Rosa's bilingual, Luis and Thomas, and everyone who's not here today, also bilingual.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Tatiana Salomas, Rosa Pagana, Melissa Manakovic, Luis Calderon, Bob Dennis, and Thomas Rebellius, and Eduardo Pinto is not here today.
So when you call in the non-emergency number, these are the clerks that will be answering the phones other than during the day and the afternoons because we have the full-time medical clerks. We already have a vacation scheduled this week, so we have the afternoon coverage from the part-timers to cover full-time absence.
Great.
It's a good supplement to the police.
Welcome.
Well, on behalf of all of us, certainly welcome to the village of Westchester. I'm sure it'll be fun. If not fun, it'll definitely be interesting. And I'll leave it at that. And when I call in, I'll say, hey, this is Sam. You'll kind of know who I am. I think I called the other day on Saturday or Sunday. I don't know who I spoke to, but thank you for the damage to the Pace bus shelter, so whoever I talked to. But anyway, welcome. You're a valued asset, certainly, to the village of Westchester. And I don't know if any of you are aspiring to be police officers someday as well. This is a nice little stepping stone that you'll learn the pluses and minuses, because at the end of the day, all departments are the same, have the same problems, have the same issues, although we have the best boss. So, and he knows that. So, anyway, welcome to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. I think we may have another new employee. Melissa, would you like to
Yes.
step up to the plate there?
Our part-time plan reviewer, Julio Rufo, is here with us tonight. He just started last week. He's an architect by trade. He's going to be doing our plan reviews and helping out on inspections when Tony's not available.
Great.
So
Welcome.
Okay, welcome as well. Do you have it down already? You've been here a couple of days.
Yeah, I got it pretty well.
Pretty well down. Piece of cake, right? No problems. Okay.
It's going to be a good learning experience for you.
Great.
I look forward to it as well.
Great, thank you. The whole idea is to be fair and to certainly meet with the residents whenever practicable and kind of walk them through them, because the majority of the people that are maybe coming to you are not construction-minded, so to speak, and they're looking for our guidance to do it right. So
I understand that part of it very well.
Great. Thank you, and welcome aboard as well. We have anything else? Nothing. Okay. Item number 5, public comments and questions. If any public would like to address us, to give as many visitors as possible an opportunity to speak in the interest of adjourning by 9, please limit your comments to 3 minutes in length unless further time is granted by the board on active or general matters. Mr. Carl.
Good evening, sir, and fellow trustees. Carl Solacino with the Environmental Sustainability Commission. What a mouthful. I'm here just to give a wrap-up of what happened last weekend as well as last season. We had our last event, e-recycling event, as well as a paper shredding and a food collection drive. And just a quick wrap-up. First off, I want to say thank you very much to all the fellow members of the commission who came out, besides our regular meetings, came out every month, and we were out there doing it. This year, not including the pickup before this weekend and what's still out there, we collected over 6,000 pounds of electronic recycling. Both containers every month were full, including extras that we had to put on site, hopefully not in the way of the public works or the fire department or the police department. I do apologize in advance if that did happen. In fact, Saturday we had our 2 biggest TVs. Just when we thought we had not one but 2 5-foot televisions that were brought in. They were absolute monsters. And just when you think they were the last, another 250-pound Sony TV. And we're not talking about the old the old console ones. We're talking about ones that like from 4 or 5 years ago, and they're still that big. Like I said, I want to thank all the members of the commission, the village employees who were always very helpful for us getting it out in the newsletter, and I also want to thank all the volunteers that have come out as well. And I do have names that I will pass along to you. We had a number of sons and mothers come out, and young students coming, meaning credits for volunteer, and they were all great every month. We always had somebody there, and it was very helpful. The other thing with this weekend, I guess the shredding event was also very successful. I guess 33 toters were full, and I guess it's 300 pounds a piece. It's roughly 10,000 pounds of paper that was shredded as well. So, like I said, all in all, it was a successful event and a successful year. We always seem to have the weather on our side. We never had rain or heat. It was always a good day, especially like I said Saturday. We couldn't ask for perfect weather. The other thing I wanted to just let you know is that the commission will be meeting in December to discuss our meeting schedule and have a official meeting schedule for the 2014 year. We plan on discussing a number of things and planning some future discussions, one of which is possibly trying to see if we can expand the program. The one thing we hated having to do this year was when somebody would bring something to say, sorry, we can't take it. We'd like to try to be a one-stop shop, and if it's economically feasible, we'd like to explore possibilities of doing it, and to see if we can, like I said, maybe get a 3rd container. Because we, like I said, we fill it every month, and this last one, we couldn't even put the stop sign back in there, it was that full. So, lastly, at the end of the month, on November 30th, we'll be doing for the first time, a cooking oil recycling program for people that deep fry their turkeys. They'll be able to bring their oil here, and it will be recycled. So, like I said, we are keeping busy, and like I said, thank you very much for the opportunity for all of us to serve, and we welcome any ideas that you may have for us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. You do know that Dr. Sullivan rolled that television from his home at Gardner and Derby Lane all the way to the recycling.
So he gotta work out that day too. We gotta work out every month, and he gotta work out that day. And he only lost one caster on the way there, and it was right at the corner.
Yeah,
So,
that's what he said.
thank you.
Thank you, Carl, and certainly thank the rest of the crew for us. Thank you. Anyone else? Once, twice, 3 times. Okay, any public hearings?
No, there are not.
Consent agenda, we have the bills, monthly reports from the various departments, approval of the minutes, and Sherby's asked that number 3 and 4 be pulled, the 22nd of October, both of those. The liquor sale under item D, ordinance for competitive bidding waive for the purchase of the software civic system. Again, on F for the competitive bidding for the public works equipment. And item G, the ordinance approving a change order with G&M Cement. And a motion to receive and file the comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ended April 30th. Does anyone need anything pulled? I do have a question on a couple of the bills, so we can pull that as well. Is there anything else that needs to be pulled? If not, is there a motion and a second to approve B through H?
So moved.
Nick? Frank? Roll call, please. Sherbs.
Trustee Carey.
Aye.
Trustee Vita. Aye. Trustee Stecker.
Aye.
Trustee York.
Aye.
Trustee Falcone.
Aye.
President Flores.
Aye, motion carries. Okay, for the bills, is there a motion and a second for approval?
So moved.
Tom?
Second.
Celeste? Okay, I had just a couple of things. One had to do with, I know we talked last time about Parkway restoration, where we had water main put in. As I'm reading the agreement with G&M Cement, from what I can gather, the Parkway restoration, at least partially on both sides, should have been covered. When they did other streets in town, they probably almost went halfway up on both sides of the street. So for the side that had the water main in it, where we're replacing the total grass on that parkway, was there a credit or anything for Hydorn and Charles and where we went up High Ridge?
No, there wasn't. Actually, the water main contractor dug a wider trench, I think, to put the water main in near where the curb is now. So they did damage some of the area behind the curb where the G&M Cement people had placed the curb. So I didn't feel that it was necessary or responsible to make them responsible for damage that was caused by the water main contractor.
Okay, but like I said, on a street that a water main was not replaced, they would have replaced some sod on both sides of the curb, on both sides of the street, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so if there was no water main to be put in on the east side of Hydorn, then the contractor would have restored a portion of that grass.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so now here comes the water main. So he takes out all of the grass. So shouldn't he have replaced half of it and the other guy replaced the other half to make it whole? Or am I not seeing that correct? I mean, if it was part of the bid for him to do the street and do half of the parkways on either side, then half of it would have been done. But since we added the main to it, we took out the other half. So shouldn't he have been responsible for half of it?
I guess, in my opinion, no, since the water main contractor did more extensive damage to the parkway.
I'm talking about the grass. I'm not talking about the dirt. I'm talking about the grass. The sodding of it.
Oh, you're just talking about the one side that?
Yeah,
main-
just the one side, right, where the main is on.
You're saying you should have gotten a credit.
I should have got a credit for at least 2 feet of
Even
sod
if the main wasn't replaced, that contractor was supposed to do some restoration.
of the
That's
sod.
correct, yes.
So you-
Right, that's
you
what
went-
my question is.
Yeah.
Apparently not. Okay. That's question one. Question two, as I was looking at the Globe invoices, I'm looking at sidewalk squares at $6.20 rate for 34,000, the quantity 5.530, and then I'm looking at a couple of other ones, one for 9,600 and another one for looks like it can't be 210, but at $4.20 a square. Why was one less than the other?
The one at $6.20 was related to the 50/50 sidewalk replacement program, which was bid at a different rate. And then Globe Construction offered to do some other work for us at the rate of $4.20, which was basically the same rate that G&M Cement was charging. We had gotten quotes from other contractors. G&M Cement was already out of town. We asked Globe if they could come in and do some more sidewalk squares for us, trip hazards that were identified by some of the trustees. So we honored that cost, or actually Globe honored the cost of G&M Cement at $4.20 a square foot.
But all I know is they replaced a square at $6, and they did one at $4. You'd think it would have been all the same.
Yeah, the 50/50 sidewalk program was bid separately from the restoration work that we asked them to do for us.
Now, is that extra $9,000 I'm not sure, the $232,000 one that we approved, are both of these 9,000 ones in that?
No,
Yeah.
Or is this an extra 9,000?
this is an extra 9,000 that,
So this,
Globe-
it's
Globe
not
did
part
this.
of that 232,
no.
which was 40.1% higher than the bid that we had.
That's correct, yeah, that's separate from the work.
So
that
this is
G&M
an
did.
extra 9.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, I think we'll discuss that at a later time. Last but not least, I'm looking at the Pinner electric bills, and I'm seeing 4 work orders: 1825 Manchester, 2922 Sunnyside, 1522 Haas, 1550 Haas, where we paid $8.70 plus a markup of 15% for a can of fluorescent paint. Now, I'm not trying to be a piker here, but if this photograph that was sent to us is all the marking that they did, I would say that that's less than 1 or 2 shots out of the can. I went online before I walked in here and found out that I could get a can of fluorescent paint at 6 cans, as a matter of fact, for $31, which makes it $5.27 a can at Home Depot, and the white marking paint for $4. So I don't get why it costs that much money, and then there's a 15% markup on that as well for material, which is the only thing is material is the spray paint. And secondly, in reading the information on here, it looks like we put a couple of street signs into the wire cable, which my question is, why didn't we Julie it before we pounded a rail into the wire, as I'm looking at? I mean, I've called Julie
50 times as Public Works Director, interim. And I think we require, anytime we pound something in the ground, that we have a Julie come out and try to locate it. Because we've paid substantial money for $1,700 to fix this one. And I'm confused of the $700 one on the Strand here. If we knock the head off, or somebody knocked the head off the top of that pole, is that what we replaced?
I
don't know.
believe so. That the
The Strand in Westchester Boulevard, looks like it's missing the head. Where did it go? Do we know?
We rely on Pinner Electric to do part of the maintenance contract that we have with them. They're included in that cost is Julie locates. Sometimes they're, I guess, plus or minus about 1.5 feet, so it's unfortunate that we put posts through the cable even though they were located. But
Well, my question is, did we call a Julie locate at 1859 Hull before we pounded this pole through the wire? And it's the same thing at 1825 Manchester.
I would have to check and verify that, but I believe we rely on Pinner specifically to do that as part of our maintenance contract.
Well, we pounded the pipe, though. Pinner had nothing to do with the pipe. They were called after we put the pipe through the pole, or put the pipe into the cable. And then again, if we're not calling Julie, I guess, why not? Because I don't know if that wire is live at any time, but our guys pounding a metal pipe into a wire that has voltages in it could be certainly hazardous to the guys that are pounding.
I'll have to check and see if we did call Julie for that, or I'm sorry, notify Pinner. We typically rely on them to do all of our locates as part of our maintenance contract with them.
And then last but not least, since we have the new street lights going in, I know the majority are in by Frankie's section, and he's received some compliments on them as well, how nice they look, as other trustees have. I don't see the need to have Pinner even go fix any of the lights right now with our contract, because we're getting all new ones. So is there a clause, or did we notify them as of October, whatever date we started doing the replacement, that their services are no longer going to be needed?
There is a clause in the contract for the maintenance.
I just don't recall. Is there we have to call them 30 days in advance, or we just call them today? Because there's really no sense of paying them for November if the new lights are up on, I think they're on your whole side, Frankie.
I think they're up until Manheim. I think they're up to.
And I don't know about the Britain side where
The
they're at.
completion of the light installation will be on November 20th.
I'm sorry?
Price Towers indicated they would hopefully be complete with the installation by November 20th.
All right, but I would think we don't need them now to fix any lights anywhere, because they're, in another 2 weeks, they're gonna be done, so whether the Britain area or whatever. I just don't know if did we have to give them a 30 or 60-day window that, telling them that the bus came, or what? I don't know.
We will, in the contract, we delete them as they're installed, but I know as Janet mentioned, we're a week away from completing all 500+ lights.
Again, I don't want to have to pay another couple, $2,300 for the month of November if we're.
There's no sense of replacing the light bulb.
Yeah,
if
there's
we're
no
changing it.
there's no reason for them to replace anything if we're doing all that over
I
again.
will review that contract tomorrow and notice them appropriately.
Okay. These are things, in my opinion, that should have been caught by somebody else as well and not me. But anyway, there's a motion and a second on the floor. My questions have been answered. Please call the roll, Sherby.
Trustee Rito? Aye. Trustee Stecker?
Aye.
Trustee York?
Aye.
Trustee Calcagno?
Aye.
Trustee Perry?
Aye.
President Corrigan?
Aye, motion carries. Item number 8,
Ordinance amending the municipal code for the Village of Westchester to require interior automatic fire sprinkler system in constructions for new one- and two-family dwellings within the Village of Westchester. Nicholas? Motion? Second?
Second.
Celeste? This is, and everyone knows, this is one of Nick's pet projects for a couple of months, and I think we all concur on that. Is there any question? If not, Sherby, please call the roll.
Trustee Stecker?
Aye.
Trustee York?
Aye.
Trustee Calcagno?
Aye.
Trustee Perry?
Aye.
Trustee Rita?
Aye.
President Polino?
Aye, motion carries. Resolution determining the estimated property tax to be levied for the 2013 tax year for the Village of Westchester. Janet, I think that's yours.
Yes, this has been added to the active agenda as in reviewing the remaining meeting schedule for the year. We have to pass a resolution estimating our tax levy at least 20 days prior to passing the tax levy ordinance. Therefore, if we waited till the November 26th meeting, we wouldn't have 20 days prior to our December 10th meeting to pass our tax levy. So this is merely a resolution estimating the tax. It's been estimated at a 4.9% increase over last year. We'd like to keep it under 5% to avoid having truth in taxation hearings. And I also have an item on the cow agenda to discuss the estimated tax levy in more detail.
That raises the point, I don't know that we've had a prior cow discussion about this. As Janet mentioned, under the Truth in Taxation Act, you're required to do an estimate of the levy in addition to keeping under the 5%, which would necessitate a public hearing. You're not going to get any more than the tax cap amount anyway, which is well under 5%, and I'm assuming you've got those figures built in. But Trustee Yurkovich also raised the question as to the need to waive the committee of the whole requirement. I think that would be appropriate because even though we're going to have a discussion later, we're adopting this now. So it's not binding, it's an estimate, but it is a legal requirement to make this estimate. So if we could have a motion to waive the committee of the whole requirement.
Motion a second to waive the committee of the whole requirement.
So moved.
Tom, second.
Second.
Nick? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition say no. It's waived. Okay. I'll ask for a motion a second for the resolution as proposed.
So
Motion
moved.
by Frank, second by Angelo. Janet, anything to add to that?
No.
Just for the edification, what is the CPI, which is all that we would get?
Well, we'll
As of
discuss
this
that
past
on
year.
the cow. The clerk's office, he has notified that the maximum CPI for purposes of calculating the tax levy will be 1.7%.
Okay. So, in essence, we asked for the 4.9 in the event that that would go up.
Right,
That
to
it would-
protect
we could
ourselves under
protect.
tax cap
Okay.
limitations.
And for everyone's information, this also includes the library?
Yes, it does.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, there's a motion, a second on the floor. Roll call, please.
Trustee York?
Aye.
Trustee Calcagno?
Aye.
Trustee Perry?
Aye.
Trustee Rita?
Aye.
Trustee Stecker?
Aye.
President Polino?
Aye, motion carries. Item number 9, the village manager, Janet, report.
Okay, a few things to note today. First, I would like to wish a very happy birthday to Greg Riebel, our IT manager, who is still less than 40 today. Also, Angelo Calcagno is having a birthday on Thursday, so he will actually be in Seattle. We have 4 trustees attending the National League of Cities Conference, leaving very early tomorrow morning, so wish them safe travels and know they'll bring a lot of useful information back for us. Also, just want to note, last Tuesday we did host a chamber breakfast here at Village Hall. Gave kind of a mini state of the village. We had each department head prepare a short presentation on the services that they provide, as well as their goals and initiatives for this fiscal year. It was well attended. We had approximately 25 people who came out early for free breakfast, so it was very well received. I want to thank all the staff for their input on that. Also want to announce, we did announce last meeting that our finance director, Ann Burkholder, had decided to accept another position back in her former town of Shorewood. I'm pleased to announce that I have appointed a new finance director, Maureen Patemba, who will be starting next Monday. So I think that she will be a valuable asset to the village, and very glad that we didn't have a long break in service in that role. Also want to know that just yesterday we received notification. I think some of you will recall that in 2010 we had applied for funding to repaint the water tower externally and internally. We did complete the internal painting in 2011 and just received word that we have been approved for a low-interest loan through IEPA to paint the exterior next spring. We'll be putting out a public notice. There's a 10-day comment period, but after that, they will be sending us the paperwork. That loan interest, I believe, is at 1.95% and will result in debt service payments of approximately $48,000 a year over 20 years. So we'll be building that into the 2015 budget. Last thing, the safe speed cameras have been installed and are operational. They are testing them currently, and by the end of next week, they should start capturing them for violation purposes. They will be coming in and doing some training with staff either later next week or the following week. So we should start seeing that revenue in December or early January, coming back to us after the court process. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Janet. Mr. Durkin.
No report for open session.
Chief Carpino.
As the village manager mentioned, Safe Speed is working on installation of the cameras at the 2 intersections within the village. We've completed all the necessary paperwork to move forward with the program. We've had the photo enforcement program in the past. This is just a different vendor. So we will have staff working with them as soon as they make themselves available. The administrative staff, lieutenants, and Greg will be going up to, I believe, Northbrook on Thursday to start training for the software that works hand in glove with the Norcom system. We've been talking to Norcom basically on a daily basis, including over the weekends, to address any issues that come up. There's been no mission-critical incidents that have occurred with the 911 system. There's been a few hiccups, but nothing major. We intend to meet with Norcom sometime next week as well. Myself and the 2 lieutenants attended 2 Veterans Day ceremonies yesterday at the public schools within the village. They were well attended. And for right now, other than the clerks you just met that we've recently hired, I think the system's working rather well, considering it's something new for the village and for the police officers. It's a learning curve for everybody. So all being said, I think it's fine. I have nothing more to offer at this time.
Thank you, Chief. Jimmy.
Veterans Day run, we did a medical standby, and the day seemed to be a big success, especially since we didn't need our services out there. But it was a beautiful day for the run, and it was very enjoyable. And we've recently completed candidate interviews with the police and fire and police board. We had 3 nights. 44 out of the 46 candidates showed up, and there were some very impressive candidates. So I hope to, in the very near future, be adding a couple of those to my staff. And also with the fire and police board, we've scheduled a captain's examination for December 6th. So our 3 lieutenants should be participating in that, and we wish them well.
Thank you. Birthday boy.
Well, thank you all for your birthday wishes. To echo what the chief had mentioned with regards to Norcom, yes, everything has been going very well. We've had, again, a few technical issues that were corrected immediately, a few logistical issues and procedural things that we have corrected with Norcom. Nothing, again, it was more or less who to call when and how to do that. But just as a note for the public that, and we've worked with Norcom to begin some educational process on this, in the need for police, we want the public to call 911. Calling our emergency line is a great resource. You'll receive the same dispatch location, but being able to call 911 and having that information displayed on the screen aids them in getting the information out, as well as that information automatically populates their CAD system. So getting the calls out will increase the speed of that by using the 911 number as opposed to dialing the entire number. Throughout the course of time, a lot of people have used the non-emergency number as well, which is still an option. If you call the non-emergency number, you have an option to press 0. It will be forwarded to the 911 center. But as a general practice, we're going to be working with Norcom to educate our citizens and residents to be calling 911 when they know they need police services. Again, if you need an administrative person within the village, whether the chief, the lieutenants, you can still call our non-emergency number. That will bring you through a sort of phone tree. If you know their extension, you can dial it, or follow through and you can dial by name, or actually move through the departments and get to the proper person. If anybody has any questions or anything through this process, don't hesitate. I think everybody knows I'm available at any time to answer any of those questions. And if anyone has any ideas or thoughts as well as to procedures and stuff, please let Janet know. We'll forward that on to us as well.
Thank you. Dave, question, comment?
With the recent rain, wind, and colder temperatures, many of the leaves have fallen now, so the Department of Public Works has been active collecting leaves. We've also relocated the village holiday tree from North Westchester Boulevard to the front of the firehouse on Roosevelt Road. We've also begun preparing to decorate that tree. We're also involved in meter reading, sign replacement. We're starting on the northwest side of town, moving south and easterly, replacing regulatory signs. The 3 VFDs have now been installed at the Crestwood Station. Looking forward to final invoice to get the DCEO grant application reimbursement submitted. I'll be following up on that very soon. As Janet had mentioned, there's roughly 330 of the LED retrofits have been completed to date. The rest of them complete by November 20th, as Janet mentioned. Our 50-50 sidewalk, I'm sorry, not sidewalk, the 50-50 tree planting program will be moving forward late this month and be completed first week in December. We were also involved in the Veterans Day run setup and takedown this past Sunday. Interviews will be beginning next week for the Public Works position, which is open. I believe we've received nearly a dozen applications for that position. Street program wise, both programs have been completed. We've got minor punch list items that are being addressed currently.
I did want to note that this year to date, that you have 4,550 feet of sanitary sewers that were cleaned in the 8 to 10 inch range, which compared to last year's 1,200 feet is exemplary. I did see that we're about 2,500 tons of asphalt, which is about almost 400 tons more than last year as well, doing our paving program and that. So I think those things are working rather well for us as well. Thank you. Melissa.
Good evening. As we mentioned before, our part-time plan reviewer started last week. Just so that everybody knows, I think everybody does know, but Follett, we issued the permits for their interior remodel last week. It amounts to about $11.6 million in construction value and about $117,000 in permit fees. In the last couple weeks, we've had 3 public hearings with the Plan Commission, but you'll hear more about that on the Committee of the Whole. We had 5 businesses that opened last month, mostly on Enterprise Drive, and also we issued about 200 permits and conducted about 300 inspections.
Just a couple of questions. I see we have 4 flood-proofing assistants that we've paid out this month. Where are we in relation to the 30,000 we allocated? Is there more than those 4 that I missed some last month?
All the funds have been allocated to applicants. Right now, they're all at various stages in the process. I think I don't know how many people we've reimbursed already, but
I'd say 4 in here. I just was wondering how many more.
I
which is
believe there
about
were
6,000.
4 already issued in previous months.
So there's about 8.
right.
Then 4 and 4. Okay. The other question I had, and I know we spoke about this. There seems to be, at least in my way of thinking, some confusion over the truck parking ordinance that we approved back in March. The original concept was to try to not have large trucks and different kinds of trucks parked along Manheim Road at any of the businesses there that didn't have some type of truck operation there. I'm confused regarding the duct cleaning person that apparently is renting a space over at 1860 on Manheim, and a truck in similar size and design, maybe a little bit bigger, that has secured a spot over at the gas station across the street. One's a violation, one may not be a violation, and I don't know where we're at. If it's a violation of zoning, if it's a mere fact that somebody just has to go into the business and rent a square foot, and now he's allowed to park there. But I didn't think that, at least in my estimation, we wanted Manheim Road, where cars are going up and down, to be any truck parking that wasn't part of a business that was that type of business. There's landscaping trucks parking in the gas station. There is some type of freight truck that's parking in the gas station. And now I find out that we have allowed, either through a business license or a contractor license, someone to rent from a real estate business that now have 2 trucks parked in the alley. It seems to me that we don't know what we're doing, to be quite honest with you. So I don't know if we need to revisit this again, but under item B here that we passed, commercial vehicles parked or stored on property zoned for non-residential use must be used in the operation of the business where the vehicle is parked or stored. If it was mentioned at that time that someone could rent from a business that wasn't a truck business, I think that should have been some type of discussion. But I was under the impression that the zoning would probably kick in, and the lack of having the proper zoning to have trucks parked up and down there was what we were looking to accomplish. So I don't know if we have to revisit this again, if the board wants to, but I'm totally confused of what's allowed and what's not allowed. You have an area behind Cermak Road where there's an office building, and I'm wondering if one of the landscapers who we shoot out of there with tickets could go into that building and rent an office space, and then the allowance would be there to park landscaping trucks in the back. I didn't think that that's what we were looking for. In my opinion, those types of vehicles to be parked should be parked in an industrial district and not really on the main drags or behind the main drags of Cermak and or Manheim Road. So comments to the board. If I'm off base with my thought process, then somebody clue me in, but that's pretty much where I was going with that.
Well, Mayor, I don't think the ordinance permits the landscaping trucks to be parked at a gas station. Clearly, they're not operating a landscaping business. If it was a landscaping business located along that street, they'd have zoning, storage issues, and truck parking issues. But at a gas station, that shouldn't be authorized, and it should be cited. It should be ticketed. So
With the one across the street at a real estate office, I have 2 trucks that are not allowed to be in a residential district because of size, design, and plates. I rent a spot in there. I could just have a phone in there. I don't know what anybody has in there. But is it okay for them to park there once they establish some type of lease or agreement?
if they leased a space in a commercial district for that business was permitted to operate, they could park a vehicle there. But renting a parking space from a realtor's office, in my opinion, is not permitted.
Okay, but
Or
if they
just-
went the 9 yards and
They
and took
had a
an office-
storefront and they had an office.
But
and
if
that was
there's
their
no sign,
landscaping.
there's no nothing, there's no advertising,
Well, I mean,
there's
that
nothing.
If you're leasing
certainly-
a space as a business, you should be paying a business license from that space also,
Yeah, I mean, we should
correct?
have records on that,
Right.
and it sounds.
Yes,
to
and I'm
me-
told that there is a business license that may have been issued in error, without proper review, so to speak, and a contractor's license. I know there's a
To that
contractor's
address?
license at that address, right. So that's my angst, because is it not possible that the guy with the truck that gets called to go move something, couldn't he go into the gas station and say, I want to rent a foot square and have a phone there, and then I could park my truck there? I think that's skirting what the intent of what we were trying to do.
It clearly is, and we don't license businesses to operate, in a gas station. We operate one business out of a gas station. So to have multiple trucks parked on a gas station lot, unless they were being worked on,
Right.
those vehicles,
No, this is strictly
that's clearly they should be cited.
Okay, well, again, I don't see the difference between the guy renting from a real estate office with no signage or no nothing that his business is there, that he's allowed to park there, but the guy across the street, he can't. Still doesn't make any sense to me. So, if that's what's allowed, then I guess that's what's allowed. So,
Well, are we allowing the business to rent space?
guess we are. I mean, we may have erred.
So,
Go back to the
so if the
original
business renting the space
Right.
is now a leaser of space, are they required to have a business license
He
to
did
do
get a
that?
business license.
To
No,
rent the
no,
space?
The original,
The person who owns the
realtor
property and
Did
owns the building.
realtor- No, I
asked for a
think,
business license to rent space. He has a business license to be a realtor, but does he have a business license to be a renter?
not that I'm aware of.
I mean,
I
are
don't
they-
know if it's
Are
required.
they sharing one office? Is that what the situation is?
What had happened
Or
was,
do you have a storefront that's being leased out?
No, it's
shared space.
the trucks were there and got a coupon. So he changed the address of the trucks to that location. Came in and got a contractor's license. I haven't seen the business license, but I was told that there was one issued, probably in error, to make him legal.
Sounds like it.
So, my thought process is, we have 6 weeks before the end of the year, that the next application, or on December 31st, he'd be sent a letter saying the trucks can't be there, that it was an error in our application process, and we'll let them both stay until the end of December, and then after that, they must relocate in an industrial district where that is more appropriate. That's my thought, but I wanted to bring it up because I didn't know which way to go with it, and I'm not steering that ship. So is that pretty much what Anybody wants to do?
I'd send them a 30-day notice.
I'm saying at the end of the year is here, so.
Yeah,
there may be
November
some-
30th, send them a notice saying in 30 days, your license is up and you can no longer park there.
Okay. I have a brief resolution for December from IDOT. They'd like me to declare December as National Drunk and Drugged Driving 3D Prevention Month. So we've done this last year, and we can put a little news blurb out there and be part of that, that program. If
Did you
there's
sign that yet?
Not yet, sir.
Are you gonna sign it at this meeting, or
I can.
is it
Yes,
a proclamation?
It's more or less a proclamation. I think we did it last year.
Yes, it's a proclamation. Yep.
So, okay.
You can sign it
do that.
tonight, or sign it at,
Okay, well, if,
the next meeting, because it doesn't require a vote, so.
okay. I can do that tonight, and we'll just have it on for December. Dave, question, is Drury Lane still on? Or not Drury Lane, the MWRD, is that still on for end of this month? Have you heard any?
The creek clearing?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's actually on, I think it began on Friday this week. It was supposed to be Thursday, but now it's been moved to Friday.
okay, because I know in the original email, there was some waiting for something from the railroad. Did they get that, or do you have any
They
clue?
did, yeah. I spoke with Brian Levy this morning, actually. And,
Oh, beautiful.
so everything's ready to go, and they're going to start Friday this week
Okay.
with
And-
our assistance.
All right, great. And Mike, have you heard anything about our Drury Lane Park, on the side? Did railroad ever get back to us after we?
No, I sent them tickets, or, excuse me, 2 letters, and they have not responded, so.
I know at one of the meetings when staff was out there, there was some encroachment by a public entity, and I believe that's been remediated. I do recall from a conversation with Dave that somebody's flipped some mattresses and stuff like that back there. I don't know if we could actually pinpoint who fly dumped it, but as far as I'm concerned, it's the property owner's problem, unless they have some evidence that they saw somebody fly dump it there. Is that not correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I think if Janet would direct that we start writing coupons for the railroad to get their act in order. We've been playing with that Drury Lane now for several years, and I think they're just blowing us by. So I think with the remediation that I think Dave's in the process of working with the other governmental entity, that should work out fine to make sure that the flow from that railroad reaches Addison Creek like it's supposed to.
We could also have the prosecutor file a long-form complaint in Maybrook and get service on them, and
That would probably
get them in front of a
be better
judge.
than writing a coupon,
Probably.
Dave.
So
Okay,
if you want to have that office,
do that.
get that underway, yes.
Okay, the last thing I have for this evening is just pretty much an update on the Dominick's. Everybody knows that our Dominick's is closing with the rest of the ones that are there. We had a brief meeting with Regency Partners. Dominick's has to let Regency know in the month of December whether or not they're going to take an option on another 5-year lease. That has not been determined. So we are still in the holding pattern. I know Deputy Mayor Catuzzo and myself and Janet have met and made calls to certain companies who we would like to see possibly vie for those spots, but at the end of the day, Regency owns the property. There is a potential sales tax loss. It's a guesstimate, but the guesstimate is over 100,000 based on the type of sales tax that comes from that. We don't know the exact number because that's a proprietary number, but you have Jewel, Dominick's, and other type businesses that are all lumped into a certain sales tax number. But I can tell you that it's probably way over 100,000. So there is the potential, so everybody knows, that if Dominic's or Safeway does not, or re-ups it, that they will be potentially finding a locator to be put in there. If they give it back to Regency, I'm sure there'll have to be some kind of negotiations, because they pay several tens of $1,000s per month for renting that space. And if that space is not selling anything between January and May, we stand to lose a considerable amount of sales tax between those times. And if it languishes until May, and another vendor comes in that wants a build-out or potentially some type of economic incentive from the village, that's going to be X amount of dollars more, and the build-out is probably going to take several months. So, worst case scenario, it could be empty without sales tax for quite some time. So, just want everybody to think about that as we go into our budget seasons and that, because there's certainly some repercussions to every municipality that has a Dominic's store in their locations.
Those
So-
are places for eating too, right?
Mhm.
That's a lot. They pulled in a lot of places for eating.
So, again,
Just
now you
Starbucks.
just made it worse.
Well, they started the seating, yeah, it's like another 10 grand, I
The
think.
places for eating, they pay a little bit money as well.
I think it's about 10 grand a year.
You would know, you were up there looking at the numbers, so, anyway, just to give everybody a heads up, I can assure you that myself, trustee Gattuso, and Janet are working diligently to put something in there, or at least be a part of that discussion, but everyone has to remember that if you do not own the property, you don't steer that ship. So, you can guide it, you can look at it, but, you know, at the end of the day, if Dominic's could pay whatever they pay in rent till May and not have one dime of sales tax, that's a possibility. So, just keep that in mind. But we will certainly hope for the best. Okay, board members, EDC, got something? Oh, I'm sorry, EDC, I'm sorry.
I was unable to attend yesterday's meeting, but I think we're gonna cover much of it in the
Yeah.
cow.
Nicholas, anything in the,
I'm good.
Celestine, anything for the good of the order there, dear?
Just trying to get some volunteer programs set up with the kids that need hours, and I know Melissa and I have talked a couple times about some service she needs in the office, and I brought my daughter out for last Saturday, but there's definitely a lot of kids that need hours, so I'm trying to coordinate something today.
Great, thank you very much. Tommy, Cab, I'm sorry.
We got a meeting tomorrow that I won't be able to attend, but we have our food drive-in, Toys for Tots, and the collections are here in both park buildings.
Great, thank you. Angelo?
Just real quick, piggyback on Carl's, I wanted to give Carl a pat on the back too. He has invested a lot of time into making that program a success, and he deserves, you know, a little boy too, so. That's it.
Great. One of the things I was thinking, and on the president's report here, you know, as we walked and delivered leaf bags and looked at certain houses there, I was thinking about maybe having a couple of the trustees kind of spearhead I don't want to say a blight committee or something in that regard, to work with the building department and Melissa to try to address some of these things. I don't know, Celestine doesn't have a committee as such. I know it's not a one-person operation, so if there's someone else that's interested in that. I don't know, if Celestine's looking at me like a third head, but we could put something together to kind of,
I think we should rename it then Blight Committee, though.
Something other than,
Yeah.
you know,
it's not like it's.
something to look
it's
at.
not good no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I
Exactly.
know you know, you're connected with, you know, the real estate to get the foreclosures and to look at some of that. There's a number of structures in town that I've certainly seen and passed along the way that I think need addressing, so.
Yeah, I could meet with Melissa and.
Some time, and I'll look at Angelo, you're the one of the newbies on the block, if you
Yeah,
wouldn't mind
because
giving her a
it's-
hand.
the season
And
for
certainly everybody's
recycling
involved
over.
in it. If you come part of it, or Nick, or anybody else sees something that we need to address,
That's good. Image Preservation Committee.
there you go.
Good job, Janet. we go.
There you go. Anyone have a problem with that?
Anything
If not,
Good job.
like it? Okay. See, we have an executive session under 5 Ilix 122C1, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body. That'll be after the committee of the whole. I think, Janet, do you have enough information about December 4th and 5th, Tommy, with the park, the lighting? That's our next
The
event.
tree lighting is going to be Wednesday, Thursday, December 3rd
The
and 4th.
tree lighting
from
will be on Wednesday at 6 o'clock.
6:30 to 8:30,
No,
right?
it's 6 o'clock, I thought. It's a
6.
2-hour event.
6:30 to 8:30, I
Oh,
thought.
okay, maybe. But it's 6:30 sharp. I mean,
Maybe you have to work at 6 o'clock.
maybe.
And it's gonna be at the Park District. What the plan of
The
attack is,
community center, yeah, on the
Oh.
boulevard.
We'll clarify that at the next meeting.
yeah, we're decorating 3 trees. The one out in front of the fire station, which we got from a resident, and there are 2 live trees in the Park District that we're going to decorate along the path. And I believe the park will be decorating some as well. And
21.
we have an adventure going on there December 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
Right, the Chamber of Commerce is also soliciting donations of trees from local businesses that will also be along the path there.
Correct.
Okay.
And in
just-
front of the building, too, there's trees.
Great. All right, is there a motion, a second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
A second.
Celeste, who's got the second?
Second.
Angelo. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say no. We stand adjourned.